the Uniformation GK3 Ultra. Let's give it a review. Biff, pow, zap, clunk clunk, ouchie. Hey guys. A few days ago I released a video on this printer, but as I said at the time, it wasn't really a review, just a few observations for those eager to jump at Uniformation's early bird deals. I'll be honest, I'm not really sure if expanding on that video will interest many of my viewers, but as I said I would do it, here we go. I loved the GK2, and I was amongst the first to sing its praises. So when Uniformation asked if I'd like to see their GK3 Ultra, I was very excited. However, be warned, this is a very large printer and arrived in a suitably large package. There were two thick cardboard boxes, one inside the other, and within that was a bolted steel frame surrounding dense packaging. Beyond doubt, it was very well packaged. Being so large and weighty, carrying and unpackaging this printer is ideally a two-person job, and lifting it was tricky as there was so much plastic to grab and so little metal. I think Uniformation would have been wise to do as Frozen did with their Mega 8K and add handles to the sides, just to make life easier for their customers. Unfortunately, despite Uniformation's packaging efforts, the lid on my unit arrived cracked, and that crack is near the hinge, which is obviously a concern with a flip-top lid design. However, my unit is apparently a prototype, and Uniformation are collating feedback from many sources before improving the final production model. So let's hope I'm the last to have this issue. The GK3 Ultra looks like a bigger version of the GK2, which for me continues to be a very attractive design. From the off, the box of Sundries set it apart from the competition. Who includes tweezers, a sexy USB stick, and my most favourite supple and squidgy mixing tool ever. Uniformation, of course. And they even provide clippers, something that other companies seem to have forgotten about these days. The USB port and switch are still sensibly located on the front, along with a nicely sized menu screen. The rear of the printer houses both Wi-Fi and Ethernet connection ports. I'm pleased to see that there's still a large replaceable cartridge-style air filter. The GK2 taught me to love flip-top lids, and the Ultra has the same. Despite its large size, it works well, though it does feel a little stiff. The reason for this is this felt stripping that runs along the lip of the lid. This helps create an airtight enclosure for better heat retention and air filtration, and let me tell you, this really does work. When you lift the lid, you get a real waft of resin vapours, proving that they're being trapped inside, which is the most effective enclosure I've come across so far. The resin tray is plastic, and many didn't like that on the GK2, but I think time has shown that it is an effective design, and this bigger beast I have here is even more sturdy. It fits very easily. Just lower it into place and slide back these levers for a very secure fit. Now this unit is an early prototype and is fitted with an ACF liner, which personally I don't like. However, Uniformation assure me that those units being sold will be fitted with a fully transparent NFEP, which for me sounds much better. The build plate is large, metal and of course a little weighty, but handling it is easy enough and it clamps to the Z-arm with a sense of purpose. It feels solid and robust. There's a provided cover to keep the resin fresh when not in use. The dual linear rails with ball screw are hidden behind an interior lining, and all this is beautifully illuminated with a large green interior light, which can of course be controlled via the user interface. The UI continues to be easy to use, straightforward and well thought out. The GK2 was the first printer I came across that preheated the resin, and I'm really pleased to say that the Ultra still does the same. Yet another first for the Ultra is that it includes the 16K screen I've mentioned in earlier videos. Until this point, the best printer in the large range was the Frozen Sonic Mega 8K or 8KS, with 43 microns of XY resolution, which actually these days isn't all that impressive, especially as we've now been spoiled with the typical 14K screen on most mid-range printers. However, this printer has an incredible 20 by 26 microns of XY resolution. So yes, it seems rectangular pixels are here to stay, but this print quality on paper at least is almost as good, for example, as we see on the Elegoo Saturn 4 Ultra 12K. The build plate should arrive pre-leveled, and mine certainly was. However, in my earlier video, I remarked that if this is not the case, there was an absence of an instructional video to amend this. But apparently, this is something else that Uniformation have already taken care of, and it should be available on all purchased units. The Ultra includes a resin feed system. You don't have to use it, you can pour the resin into the vat as normal, though you may get messages on the UI which you'll need to action. But if you enjoy the easy life, you can buy a fancy bottle of resin like this and slot it into your printer with ease. And it does seem to work, and it does seem to sense when the limit is reached and stops filling. Personally, I'm not a fan of any kind of filling unit, as resin separates surprisingly quickly, and to date I've yet to come across a unit that mixes resin before adding it. But this is a nice feature, and some may find it useful. I'm renowned for my honesty, and so I do need to mention an issue with one of the fans. It started off great for me, but on the third test print, my unit developed a very loud noise. Now that's not a noisy fan, that's a faulty fan. And I don't mind telling you that Uniformation were not pleased with me for including that in my previous video. But tough. Honesty is my thing, and I included this not to embarrass Uniformation, but to let consumers know that this is the kind of thing that can happen. These printers travel vast distances before arriving in our hands, and there's always a chance of being dropped or mishandled on the way. Good packaging is important, and Uniformation have done the best job they could, I think. But shit happens, regardless of what you buy. What really matters is what happens next. Now, Uniformation have already been on to me. Why didn't you tell us? We'd have got it sorted for you. And I don't doubt that they would have. But it's just as easy to be skeptical and say, yeah, they'll sort yours, you're a YouTuber. But let me just say this. I get a lot of emails and I hear a lot of gripes about poor quality customer service. And honestly, to date, I haven't had a single email complaining about Uniformation. So I guess that says that they're doing something right. When it came to the test prints, Uniformation provided me with this empty bottle. And I really hope that they will sell empty bottles, as we've all got our own particular favourites, and of course some of us use speciality resins as well, which we just can't get from Uniformation. I opted to use Creality High Precision Resin, as I recently started using this and have been delighted with the results. In my tests, I poured some into the feed bottle, but mostly I just poured it into the vat. And I've been very impressed with my test print results. In the hand, they look very sharp and clean. I cannot stress that enough. Unfortunately, when magnified, there's an occasional pitting issue. I've been pulling my hair out a bit with this one as I wanted to get to the bottom of it. Could it be an issue with the 16K screen? Could it be our old adversary, the ACF liner? In an effort to prove consistency, I edited this gorgeous Mephisto head into something smaller for easier printing, and I positioned it on the plate in regular intervals. I then printed them a second time in order to prove a problem in a specific area. But the printing gods were laughing at my frustrated attempts, and I struggled to repeat the problem. So the pitting was there sometimes, but not others, and never in one particular place. This leads me to guess that this is an issue perhaps related more to vibrational interference from my faulty fan than from the 16K screen or ACF liner. So unless I can stabilise that issue, I can't really state categorically that there even is an issue other than on my particular printer. So, what do I think about the Uniformation GK3 Ultra? Well, I have a cracked lid and a dodgy fan, but I have to confess, I still love this printer. I cannot blame Uniformation for something that no doubt happened as the unit was in transit. But I can commend their eagerness to want the matter corrected, and I get a real sense that their customer service people will try their best in that regard. I can certainly commend Uniformation on striving to improve an already excellent product by giving us extra features like Resin feed, even if I don't use it, and clever touches like a channel to stand and drain the build plate of excess resin, a feature that I love and use every time. The Ultra is the first to use the new 16K screen, and it gives us much finer quality print at the large printer end of the market. Don't get me wrong, it's just a matter of time before Anycubic, Elegoo, Frozen and the rest put 16K screens into their printers, but it's up to you to decide whether or not they'll do it quite as well. When it comes to price, Uniformation set themselves apart from the others. They feel their products are better quality and command a higher price. And funnily enough, their customers seem to agree. Honestly, if you want to see quality, you've only got to look at the Ultra's build plate and realise that quality really is here. And of course, ultimately, this is a printer, and it really does print well. I've seen tiny pitting on some of my prints, but these are highly magnified, and this pitting is not visible when held in the hand. When viewed on a table or a shelf, these prints are crisp and detailed. I even stated previously that they were suitable for jewellery making, and I stand by that statement, as these imperfections firstly may be just the result of my faulty fan, I don't really know at the moment, but even if they aren't, and they're present on every printer they're sold, they're so fine as to not spoil the finished print. So I hereby officially dub this printer my designated king of the large range printers. It oozes a regal sense of quality, and it prints far, far better than anything else in this sector of the market. Frankly, it's so good, it's brown trousers time for the other brands. Finally, should you buy one? Well, I can't spend your money for you, and I can only draw conclusions on what I've personally experienced. But I can say, if you buy one, even if it has a cracked lid and a noisy fan, you'll still love it, and you'll laugh at how much better it prints than other printers in this sector of the market. Do check out the description below this video, because from time to time Uniformation kindly provide my viewers with VogMan promotion codes for good deals and free extras, which can only enhance your purchase. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, feel free to post questions and comments below, as well as hit the like and subscribe button. So take care, and thanks for watching.